A two-stage rocket designed for reliable and safe transportation of satellites, cargo, and people. Starting from the very top of the vehicle, we have
Stage
the
1
payload.
RP1 load is complete.
We have the payload fairing, which might be a little foggy there in Vandenberg, but the payload fairing is a protective shell that houses all the payloads, shielding them from aerodynamic heating until the vehicle is outside of the Earth's atmosphere.
The shape of the fairing contributes to Falcon 9's overall efficiency, helping to reduce drag during flight. Once in space, the two fairing halves separate and fall back to Earth, where they will be recovered by our recovery vessel, Go Beyond, to be refurbished and reused on future flights. Both halves of this fairing are flight-proven, with one side flying for its 20th time and the other for the 7th time.
And within that payload fairing is today's payload stack, which was encapsulated just a few days ago. And there you can see a photo from midway through that operation just before the fairing halves were closed in preparation for flight. And right below the fairing is the Falcon 9 second stage, which houses a single Merlin vacuum engine, or what we call the MVAC engine. And below that is the second stage. Below the second stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, and inside of that inner stage is where the MVAC engine is located.
The inner stage connects the two stages and houses the center pusher that allows the first and second stage to separate in
pressing
flight.
for strong back retract.
So the truss structure next to the vehicle is known as the strong back, and that's going to start to retract. So we're likely not going to be able to see the retract happen. Below that, we have the first stage, which we usually refer to as the booster.
Strong back retract has started.
The first stage makes up the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle and has 9 Merlin 1D engines at the bottom. Those 9 Merlin engines generate more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The first stage supporting today's mission will be making its 26th flight today, having previously launched 5 NRL missions, SARA-1, SWAT, Transporter 8 and 9, Bandwagon 2, and 15 Starlink missions.
About 2.5 minutes into flight, the first stage will separate and make its way back down to Earth. Today's scheduled landing is on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which there you can see on your screen, currently stationed in the Pacific Ocean.
At T-minus 3 minutes and 37 seconds, all systems are currently a go for an on-time liftoff.
Rideshare missions like today's significantly increase access to space for small satellite operators around the world, and we're excited to be able to offer these launch opportunities for our customers. In addition to helping drive down the cost of access to space by flying reusable vehicles, dedicated rideshare flights provide small satellite operators competitive pricing, increased flight opportunities, and flexibility.
As the demand for rideshare missions has continued to rise, our rideshare program was expanded to accommodate even more small sats looking for rides to orbit. Falcon 9 launched its second Bandwagon mission last year, Bandwagon 2, a separate
Stage
line
1 launch float is complete.
There's a good call out there. So Bandwagon 2 was a separate line of rideshare missions to deliver spacecraft to mid-inclination orbit, rather than to transporters' sun-synchronous orbit, and Bandwagon 3 earlier this year in April. Mid-inclined orbits are appealing to a growing number of customers, especially to remote sensing companies that want to strengthen their coverage over areas like parts of Asia and the Middle East.
For more information on these and opportunities to other orbits, visit spacex.com/rideshares.
And with that, we're proceeding into the last few minutes of terminal count. For our next major milestone, we're waiting for that call out of second stage LOX loading completion.
Stage 2 LOX float is complete.
There it is. The first and second stages are now fully loaded with over 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. And while it is pretty cloudy today, you can see the white clouds forming around the vehicle on our launch pad right now. This is totally normal. Those clouds are made up of chilled gas from above the surface of the LOX tank that is vented overboard
Ground gas close-up.
to maintain pressure in the tanks as needed. And when that vented oxygen mixes with the warmer California air outside, it condenses into those clouds that you're seeing. So we're standing by now for confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup at the T-1 minute mark.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Good call out there. Falcon 9 is in startup. That means the internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. We're now just waiting for the final call from the launch director.
LD is go for launch.
And great news there. All systems are go for launch of Transporter 14.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Transporter 14.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
And indeed, chamber pressure is nominal.
We are T plus 40 seconds into flight. Falcon 9 has successfully cleared the tower and cleared the fog. We've got a
Power
great view
and telemetry
there.
nominal.
After lifting off from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. We are now currently throttling down to prepare for max Q. That's the point of maximum aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle. Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster than the increasing speed of the rocket. We're coming up on max Q here in a few seconds.
Max Q.
And there we've passed through max Q.
Coming up next, we'll have several events happening in quick succession, starting with MECO, followed by stage separation, SES-1, and then the boost back burn. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is where the first stage separates from the second stage.
Started.
Then the MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which is called out as Second Engine Start 1, or SES-1. This engine burn, lasting several minutes, will propel the second stage and the payload to orbit. The boost back burn will then assist the first stage in returning to its recovery location on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. Then the fairing will jettison from the second stage, as it's no longer needed to protect the payloads once we are in space. Later, those fairing halves will separate about 30 seconds after SES-1, so keep an eye out for all of those events coming up shortly.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. Evacuation.
And there we've had MECO stage separation. On your right-hand screen, you can see the MVAC engine igniting. On your left-hand screen, you can see the grid fins deploying on the first stage, which will soon make its way back down to Earth for a landing on Of Course I Still Love You. Coming up next will be fairing deploy in a few seconds here.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Great call out and great live view of fairing separation.
And as a reminder, those fairings will make their way back to Earth for recovery. The next major milestone coming up is entry burn on our Falcon 9 first stage, which is scheduled to occur around the T+6 minute mark. The entry burn is used to slow the first stage as it heads back towards our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
Vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
We had some good call-outs that both vehicles, both first and second stage, are on nominal trajectories. And we are currently in our first MVAC burn, and this burn should last another few minutes. And the next milestone coming up for the first stage will be the entry burn, coming up in about 2 minutes from now. Today's Falcon 9 will be performing a couple more burns to make its way to the drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, the next up being the entry burn, and then followed by the landing burn.
The first burn, known as the entry burn, slows the vehicle down before hitting the denser parts of Earth's atmosphere. Without this burn, we'd only be using the atmospheric drag to slow down Falcon 9, which would add extra stress to the vehicle. Following entry burn, the booster will initiate the landing burn, which should slow the vehicle down even more for a successful landing. Those white puffs that you see coming off of Falcon 9 are cold nitrogen gas, which helps with attitude control.
Just under a minute away from that entry burn beginning. And again, you can see on your left-hand screen a view from the first stage vehicle as it makes its way back down to Earth. On our right-hand screen is the second stage, looking at the MVAC engine there, still burning. We have a couple more minutes burning on that engine until the first SECO, which is the second stage engine shutdown. Just about 10 seconds away from that entry burn on that first stage. The first stage is just using its grid fins at the moment to help guide its way back to the drone ship, and this entry burn will help slow down the vehicle.
Stage 1 entry burn startup. Stage 1 FTS has saved.
There's that call out, and you can see on your screen that the engines have ignited on the first stage vehicle. This should just last about 15 seconds for this burn.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And you heard that call out, as well as saw that the engines have cut off on the first stage vehicle, ending the entry burn for the first stage today. As mentioned earlier, we are scheduled to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, and this would be the 26th flight and landing for this specific booster.
And during the landing burn, we are expecting the shutdown of the second stage MVAC engine. This is known as Second Engine Cutoff 1, or SECO 1. We are about 30 seconds away from
transonic.
About 30 seconds away from the landing burn.
Stage 2 internal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn. Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And there you just heard that call out for the landing burn start on the Falcon 9 first stage. Again, this is the final burn that this booster will execute before touching down.
Stage 1 landing leg deployed. SECO. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Nominal parking orbit.
And there you just watched as Falcon 9 touched down on Of Course I Still Love You, marking the 26th landing of this booster. We also had SECO 1, which is second stage engine cutoff,